afternoon. Welcome to Business This Week. I am Blessing A.G. Apologies for coming a bit behind schedule. Now, according to the Small and Medium Enterprises Development Agency of Nigeria, SMEDEN, the number of MSMEs in Nigeria dropped by about 2 million between 2017 to 2021. Why did that happen? So today we'll be looking at the fate of MSMEs in Nigeria. But that wouldn't be before we bring you the updates of business happenings in the country within the week. So stay tuned for Business Roundup. Business Roundup. The first story says the average prices of food items in Nigeria recorded significant increases within a one-year period spanning between February 2021 and February 2022. Data from the National Bureau of Statistics showed, according to the NBS, the average cost of beans rose by 50.1% from 331 naira 48 kobo to 497 naira 54 kobo during the review period. On a monthly basis, the price of beans recorded an increase of 3.34% from 481 naira 47 kobo in January 2022 to 497 naira 54 kobo in February 2022. As of February 2021, the average cost of 1 kilogram of tomatoes was 269 naira 18 kobo. It, however, increased to 393 naira 8 kobo in February 2022, indicating 46.03% increase. The average price of 500 grams of sliced bread also increased year on year by 34.11% from 326 naira 61 kobo in February 2021 to 438 naira 3 kobo in February 2022. Yam also recorded a significant increase during the review period. The average price of 1 kilogram of this food item rose from 242 naira 82 kobo in February 2021 to 339 naira 76 kobo in February 2022, showing an increase of 39.92%. Other food items that recorded notable increase during the period under review are bread and groundnut oil. The NBS stated that the average price of bread also increased year on year by 34.11% from 326 naira 61 kobo in February 2021 to 438 naira 3 kobo in February 2022. Similarly, the average price of groundnut oil, one bottle specifically, stood at 997 naira in February 2022. This shows an increase of 3.18% in January 2022. State price distribution shows that as of February 2022, Ebonyi recorded the highest average price of beans with 818 naira 59 kobo, and the lowest was reported in Bauchi with 243 naira 67 kobo, the report added. The Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission has blamed limited funding for the agency's inability to effectively fight corruption at the nation's ports. The Anti-Graft Agency, in a statement on its official Facebook page, also reiterated its commitment to tackling corruption at the Nigerian ports. The ICPC chairman, Professor Bolaji Owasunoye, a senior advocate of Nigeria, disclosed this when the executive secretary and chief executive officer of the Nigerian Shippers Council, Emmanuel Jimmy, paid him a courtesy visit at the commission's head office recently. Owasunoye noted that while Nigeria had the capability to realize and sustain a robust economy, its biggest challenge was inability to block economic leakages. The ICP boss explained that the nation's economy was bleeding from the high level of corruption and corrupt activities taking place in the ports. He stated that the situation had led to reputational damage to the country, arguing that foreign investors no longer have an interest in investing in the country, with many moving their investments to neighboring countries. Owasunoye pledged the continued support of the Commission in fighting corruption at the ports through the joint efforts of the Ports Standing Task Team. According to him, the inability to have dedicated officers stationed at the ports on a full-time basis is affecting the anti-corruption fight at the ports. He therefore maintained that the collaboration of both agencies would be in pragmatic ways. Owasuniyi assured of the Commission's readiness to explore the best ways to curb corrupt practices at the Nigerian ports. Earlier in his address, Jimmy had expressed his gratitude to the ICP for its collaborative support in the fight against corruption at the ports, which, according to him, improved the economic growth and development of the country. And finally, on Business Roundup, Nigeria holds as much as $900 billion worth of debt capital locked up in residential real estate and agricultural land, including federal government's abandoned properties estimated at 230 billion naira, according to PwC Nigeria. Debt capital refers to unregistered real property and is considered lost value because the landholder is unable to transfer or leverage the property to borrow or access capital. Meanwhile, the company has listed 10 priority areas for policymakers and businesses necessary to accelerate the country's economic growth. A partner and chief economist, PwC Nigeria, Andrew Nevin, disclosed this while speaking at an executive roundtable on the Finance Act 2020 and Economic Outlook for 2021. Nevin gave the figure while highlighting 10 priority areas policymakers and businesses in Nigeria need to consider in 2021, which include unlocking Nigeria's vast debt assets to stimulate growth, harnessing the power of the diaspora, driving export growth through services, the need for growth to be spread across the country and not just in few urban centers, improving on the country's low investment and gross capital formation, moving its thriving informal sector to the formal sector, improving on the business environment and ease of doing business, addressing Nigeria's big three distortions, exchange rate, power, and subsidies, shifting focus from the gross domestic product lens to sustainable development goals, and finally prioritizing climate change. That's it on Business Roundup. We're going to quick break. When we return, it'll be time for us to look at the fate of MSMEs in Nigeria. Stay tuned.
Based on logistics, there are two categories of young people in Nigeria today. The first category, the educated, empowered, and privileged. The second category, the poor, the deprived, and angry young people, who form the majority of the youth population you refer to, and are the ones that have become the tools of trade in the hands of the politicians. So we, the young people who are educated and can make the type of decisions and understand where Nigeria needs to go, are in our minority. The ones in the villages and the bushes who don't have education, who are poor and angry, who become area boys, do not even have food to eat 3 times one day. Now, where do we go from here? How do we promote inclusiveness? Nigeria and Africa have to become entities that embrace consequences. What do I mean by that? Consequences, when we begin to punish bad behavior in Nigeria, when people steal our money and we put them in jail, Nigeria and Africa will become better countries. I'll tell you why, sir. In Singapore, under Lee Kuan Yew, a minister bargained with a contractor and took money and took bribe from him to give him a contract. When Lee Kuan Yew found out, the minister committed suicide and left a note behind that he would rather die than face the consequences Lee Kuan Yew will place them. In Nigeria, when people steal our money, we give them chieftaincy titles. When they steal our money, we give them doctorate degrees. Somebody said that the reason why rich people in Nigeria don't fund research is because there's no substance at the base of their wealth. So when we do not place consequences side by side our actions, we do not send a strong message to the people who have stolen. How do we promote inclusiveness? Number one, we need to be able to embrace the principles of equality, where the children of the rich and the children of the poor can go to public schools because public servants elevate the quality of education in the public schools. Number two, where the children of the poor can get jobs without having connections. When they go to University of Lagos and go to University of Ibadan, and they are giving the same kind of jobs that people like me who went to Harvard University Kennedy School can get, that is when we become an equal country. A country where the children of the rich go to school abroad and come back to lead the corporations is not a country. We're just simply cohabiting. The question is that in a situation where the same mind clamors for bread and books, bread will always win. And the political elite of this country have mastered the art because they know that 500 naira and 1,000 naira will make people sell their votes at the polling booth. And so it is not that we young people don't want to organize to take over from you, but it is that your generation has the money to keep our generation aground. When you do not empower our generation to speak English so that we can get the right kind of jobs that will help us stand side by Singapore, Finland, and Canada, you deprive us of our fundamental humanity. As we continue to promote the ideas of diversity, of inclusion, of equality, we need to move forward and think about how to strengthen the economy of Nigeria by diversifying.
Thank you for sitting with us, all talking business. So it's time for us to look at the fate of MSMEs in Nigeria. Now I've been joined by a business analyst, Emmanuel Boigwe. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Bessie.
Good afternoon to you too. Okay, now, according to the Small and Medium Enterprises Development Agency of Nigeria, SMEDEN, it announced that the number of micro, small, and medium enterprises across the country dropped by about 2 million between 2017 and 2021. As at 2017, they had 41.5 million MSMEs that had dropped to about 39 million now. So what do you think could be the reason for this? Instead of having more registered MSMEs, as they are the major drivers of the economy, we have less. What could have happened in a space of 5 years? Because from 2017 to 2021, that was the review period.
Okay. Yeah, I think that if the first quarter result comes out,
Okay.
that attrition figure would go higher.
Okay, if they add the first quarter of 2022 to that.
Yes. The report also, there is also a report from PricewaterhouseCoopers.
Okay, PwC.
PwC, sometime earlier. It's all the same results. Well, basically, the challenges faced by MSMEs in Nigeria are almost generic.
Okay.
Low supply of skilled manpower to run their operations, high cost of capital, and of course, they have very low access to structured and institutional capital,
Okay.
sources. And then, of course, government policies doesn't also help them that much. The most of which you would know is the issue of multiplicity of taxes.
Okay.
Federal tax, state tax, local government taxes, and all of that. And of course, taxes you can't predict or define. These are all reasons given. Of course, the economy in itself is harsh. Competition is getting fiercer, and power supply. Why I said the first quarter result might, present even worse picture. It's, of course, in the first quarter was when we saw prices of the petroleum product, particularly diesel.
Yes. Skyrocketing,
and of course that isn't going to help. A lot of businesses just closed, and even very big businesses, as it were, banks are reducing the number of hours that they operate now. That tells you how harsh the environment is. That for me is very worrisome. Worrisome because this is the same sector that is contributing over 48% to the GDP of the country. And put side by side the fact that the country's economy is not presently doing too well. By the last time we were here, we're talking about our debt portfolio
yes.
that is serviced by over 90% of our oil revenue.
That hasn't changed to the better.
That hasn't changed to the better. So that just tells you that the outlook for our SMEs in the coming year isn't really a cheery news.
Let's even look at the structure of MSMEs in Nigeria. What NBS and even Sweden have captured, maybe according to CAC records, at 2017 was 41.5 million registered MSMEs. Now, I know that there are actually more MSMEs because
certainly.
For some small, medium-scale enterprises, they don't even consider registering their business. So the structure of MSMEs itself in Nigeria, does it even favor the continued existence of these businesses?
Some analysts have even added NINO to it, NINO, because the SMSs we're presently looking at are those that do turnover of less than 5 million, 5 million and all that. So now, those registered are just like a far cry to the number of people doing businesses in that space in Nigeria when you add the NINO to it. That comes to like what's best case 10%. Now, I do not know if the CAC there's a weeding that is going on in CAC of recent, the last 1 or 2 years, where most companies soon after they register, they don't go back to submit any annual returns. And of course,
it seems like a once-in-a-lifetime activity.
Once-in-a-lifetime activity. Now, what CAC has been doing in the last couple of years that I'm talking about is that since they are going online in their transactions, they are looking at companies that have not submitted annual returns, maybe delisted. That's one. And another method they are using is if you make any request, they use that to want to update their record, because the manual records they kept of those companies seem to have been compromised over time for lack of authentic data. So it's not unlikely that when they really do the due diligence they will do, the attrition rate might even be much less.
Filter the businesses that are considered inactive.
It might really drop, and that is really worrisome for our country that is supposed to be depending hugely on SMEs in terms of employment, in terms of GDP contribution, in terms of production, and of course SME presently employ over 80%
of households.
Labor in that sector. So that's really worrisome.
Okay. Now, but why do you think some businesses may still be active, but are not following up as far as updating their records, doing the needful required by CAC of them? Is it an ignorance thing?
One is ignorance. Another is will I call it technical exclusion from the radar of regulatory authorities. By that I mean, most companies, by the time you were registering a company, you were supposed to insist that they have a bank account. Good number of them just operate by those business names with no bank account. Not until they have anything to do with CAC, for which annual return will be requested. So those are some of the challenges we presently have within our system. So it's not just the operators, it has to do with the regulators of the SMEs.
Okay. Now, going back now to the operators of the MSMEs, while you were talking about the number of MSMEs that dropped out of the registered list, you mentioned lack of skill for the manpower.
Certainly, that's
okay, so how does that really impact the range of the business? One would think that for MSMEs, you don't need to have so much of skill, but how is it a big issue for MSMEs?
Listen, what we are discussing here is the fate of SMS,
Yes.
MSME.
Yes.
I can tell you that, well,
Maybe we need to categorize and know exactly how skill comes into
the
play.
highest reason responsible for this, the mortality of these MSMEs, is that the owners don't even have the required skill to run the businesses that they came out to run.
Okay, what basic skills would an operator of any MSME need?
Okay, for instance, let's take the basics.
Okay.
If one says he wants to run a garage, that's an auto repairing a company, his technical skill of being a mechanic is not enough.
Okay.
He needs to have people management skills. He needs to have book management skills. He needs to have the day-to-day managerial skills that he needs. He needs to have the market engagement skills. If he does not have all of these skills are not technical skills. They are managerial skills. They are business management skills that he needs to have added to his technical skills. 9 of 10 times when we are talking about entrepreneurship in this country, what we're actually talking about is
the technical skill.
Technical skill. Is he a hairdresser?
Okay.
Is he a mechanic? Why those are good? The business management skills for him to keep, because he's trying to engage in business of selling his skills and services to the people. If, for instance, somebody gets all his money, puts it in his pocket, when it's time for him to pay bills, he's unable to pay critical bills, I can tell you for free that while his technical skill is top notch, his inability to meet due obligation of the business might get the business running down, because suppliers will fail to supply to him, the staff will fail to work for him, and many other challenges. He will be unable to pay for critical services rendered to him. So those are some of the skills that is needed by a business owner. And 9 of 10 business owners in this country do not have those business skills. That goes again to telling how our businesses registered. How our business outside this climb, businesses are registered and the owners are taken through a drill of knowing whether you did have the business management skills beyond and beside the technical skills that or services that you intend to sell.
It is not enough for you to submit the name of the business and say you want to register the business.
Not just enough. Not just enough. In short, the business proposals that tells what are the opportunities and the gap you intend to fill, and how you intend to operate your business. In short, a test run of how you intend to run the business are some of the things that some of the interview, that is pre-registration, pre-company interview, registration interviews, and chats that you're supposed to go through. Yeah, that actually can be done without CAC being the direct, interviewer. It could actually be done by the consultants and CAC like licensed agencies.
Is that where we're getting it wrong? Because it seems to be the aspect of proposal, the aspect of you convincing that this business is something that will make way or something that will thrive, is left for you at the point where you need to secure financial facility from financial help from any financial institution. So that's when they require you to present all of that. But at the area of CAC, it seems like the concentration is just, what is your business name? And where is your business located? Who owns the business? It seems like that is the concentration. Is that where we're getting it wrong, not making all of these things incorporated as a requirement at the beginning?
We're getting it wrong at that stage majorly, as well as we are getting it wrong at operation stage. And then, of course, when it gets to this attrition we're talking about. Now, it's important to get it right from the beginning, because they say that if a house if any structure is going to stand, foundation is critical. It's very important. What's more important to the system presently is that the financiers of the business only begin to ask this question that should have been asked from start when they want to put in money. Of course, most of the time when these questions are asked, well, like we just rightly alluded to, is the financial institutions,
Okay.
a third party that wants to put in. That's for
when you need financial help. Well, if you have no need for that, nobody asks.
Yes, that's sometime when, for the first time, business people are preparing a business proposal. The first time they are preparing a feasibility study. 9 of 10 times when people get into the SMEs, MSMEs we are talking about, they just go into it by intuition. My brother is doing so. What they mistake for performance is what we call turnover.
Okay.
That 5 cars parked in front of the barber shop, that 10 cars parked in the mechanic shop, does not tell that the business is doing well. But 9 of 10 times, what you find us do is by intuition.
Okay.
My brother is doing that business, why can't I do it? If I have
especially if you have the technical skill.
You understand it. So beyond all that my brother is doing it, why can't I do it? Is the fact that at registration, which is at incubation of the business stage, the business proper need to be looked into.
Okay.
And then at operation stage, from time to time, know-how is supposed to be built. That is, these skills are supposed to be upgraded.
Okay.
You know, by training. How many SMEs owner go for business training when they are in business?
Maybe those that belong to the category of the medium enterprises. Even
in the medium is when financiers and regulators now make it compulsory for you to get certain skills, for you to get certain certification. That's when they remember to go for on-the-job training. Okay. Otherwise, they'll tell you, I've been running business for a donkey number of years.
Okay.
Why are you talking about going for any training?
Okay.
So they don't consider it important. Changes in how they do business, changes in the technology and policies that affect how they do business don't seem to matter.
Changes in the industry even.
In the industry even, don't seem to matter to them. Those are the reasons that, you know, would actually make that number happen. Tell you what, what's more interesting is that this attrition didn't start because of COVID.
Okay.
I'm glad the survey started in
2017, even before COVID.
Yes, COVID only just maybe worsened it.
Okay.
Or COVID just only exposed how not prepared for the deeper waters of business.
Okay.
We are as a country.
Is it really not being prepared? Now, if you say not being prepared, who's not really prepared? Is it the business environment of Nigeria or the business operator that is not prepared for business?
Is the business operators as well as the business environment.
Okay.
We have we made presentations here before now to tell you that 200 million mount need 200 million people to satisfy with various services and goods. Okay. That's huge market. China understand that. That is why they took advantage of their market, and of course of turntables against other economic powers. So too so the business environment is we have a market huge enough for opportunities and emerging opportunities to thrive. The operators need to up their game, but I think first is a systemic thing. We're just talking about registration now.
Okay.
CAC need to go beyond just asking you for a business name, asking you for what kind of business you want to do. In short, at best, what we presently do is that if you want to do a technical business, they ask you, do you have that certification?
Okay.
Maybe for say consulting in an area, they ask you, do you have that certification? Once you have it, voila, they register you. Beyond that, other businesses, they need to either they run a small course, a short course of say 1 month. If you say you have a technical skill, or say you're a hairdresser, you're an auto mechanic, you're an ICT specialist. Beyond all that, they need to run maybe a 1 month business management course, and that certification added to your technical skill to register you.
Okay, in running a course like that, we must also consider the illiterate ones. This may be very easy for those who have passed through the 4 walls.
Bless you when we say course does not mean that you need to write an exam. Okay.
Thank you for staying with us on Talking Business. We'll continue now talking about the fate of MSMEs in Nigeria, as they have my guest in the studio, a business analyst, Emmanuel Eboigbe. All right, now before the break, we're talking about how the the attention should shift from MSMEs seeking loans from friends and family to other financial institutions. And you talked about cooperative. Now, do you think there's a way cooperative can be strengthened? Because sometimes it's just about business people or even individuals putting together a common pool of finance to help one another when they have need for financial support. Now, is it possible for the government to also be offering some form of credit facility to these cooperatives to improve their asset base?
They are presently doing that, but I think it could be better. Like I said before, they presently account for about 6% of the funding of MSME in Nigeria by by the records. So, and compared to about 50% which funding which comes from friends and family. That means that we really need to look at how to change that imbalance. So government can actually do that, and they are doing it. It could be done better because, like I said earlier, the rate of failure of the credit extended by cooperative seem to be a lot lower than that of commercial bank. I was also telling you that, of course, one reason why the funding to SMS is low for the commercial bank is the fact that it's quite risky
for them.
It's quite risky for them. You know, it could be better. Government can actually look at operating. Specialized banks too can look at operating through cooperatives. Yeah, that portfolio. I am actually advocating for, like I said earlier, that sectoral allocation of credit by CBN through commercial banks should actually increase in favor of these SMS.
So they become like a third partner in the wheel. It comes from the central bank to the commercial banks and then to the cooperatives. Is that what you're suggesting?
This is it, presently. The central bank is what we call the regulator of the financial industry. And they tell the percentage of credit that goes to all the sector by prudential guidelines. That prudential guidelines also have some, penalty attached to infraction of it. So I'm only saying that, look, the penalty should not be an issue of if I am supposed to give certain quota of my credit to this sector and I am unable to, therefore, whatever flimsy reasons which might come up, one of which might be the risk quotient really of that sector. I am saying that we can begin to look at a different way to doing the same good thing. What is the same good thing? If this sector, the MSMEs, is contributing 50% to the GDP, 80% to our employment, that numbers. What it means is that this is a sector to look at zeroing down on. And the commercial bank can be asked to please walk through the microfinance bank, walk through the organized cooperative to fund. You can only improve and increase on control and monitoring, which is what you do ordinarily for a credit to portfolio to do well. You can only increase and improve on the monetary skill and mechanism. But as of supporting, you can do it through the microfinance institution. They can do it through the cooperative.
All right. Now, on a final note, I don't know if you've ever been to any micro business, the very small ones that we see around where it's written, business grow when friends and family pay for their services. That used to be quite common. It's really shops where people come in, make purchase and don't pay because they're friends or relatives of the shop owner. Now the federal government is planning to generate 21 million full-time jobs through massive investment in social infrastructure and service. Now will this make it easy for payment of goods and services? Let's also look at our spendings. If more people are spending, would that not also help the sustenance of the MSMEs in Nigeria, either spending on services rendered or on products?
Of course, certainly. Presently, it is interesting to know that family and friends are the one funding the businesses of the SMS.
Okay.
And it is very disappointing to know that these
some
same family
of them are the
friends
ones wrecking
are
the
also
businesses.
the ones wrecking these same businesses that they funded with one hand. Goes unargued when family and friends pay, because that's critical. 9 of 10 persons you do businesses with are your family and friends.
Basically, your contacts.
Yes, your contact. Because if they were not friends when they patronized you the first time, when they come for a repeat, purchase, they become your friends.
Okay.
And if that friendship develops, and they now, take undue advantage of that friendship and not pay for your services, you are going out of business soon. For me, the fate of businesses, especially of the MSMEs in Nigeria, is hanging on our understanding business as business.
Okay.
And
not necessarily having more money in your pockets to
certainly that you do business does not mean that you have more money in your pocket.
I'm talking about the consumers now. If the consumers have more access to disposable income without also translate to better business.
Oh, certainly.
It
would only increase their spending power.
Okay.
It would increase their ability to be able to pay for what they bought.
Okay.
It will also reduce the present huge credit lines that MSMEs are grappling with.
Okay.
But again, having money, which is capacity to pay,
okay,
and paying, which is willingness to pay, are two different things.
Okay.
So the business owners need to step up to know that I am not in a social business.
Okay.
I am not in a social industry. I am in a business of offering service, and my service is being paid for. Having said that, the attrition rate you find, we are, which is like the reason, it's going to get more serious if we do not improve on our sustainability of business thinking and on our succession of businesses.
Okay, looking into the future. Yes. All right, this is a safe place to draw the discussion to an end today on the fate of MSMEs in Nigeria. Special thanks to you, sir.